Hey guys, it's Leanne from Broken the Big Smoke, and I said in my last reading roundup blog post that I was going to alternate between doing videos and written blog posts. So this is a review of the books I read in February this year. The first book I read wasn't actually a book, it was an audiobook on Audible, and it was Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher. I finished one of her other books in January, which I really enjoyed, but I wasn't too fond of the narrator. This one has a different narrator. This one is Kate Rawson, and I freaking loved her. And I really loved this story too. It was really cute, and although it was a little bit predictable, there were some parts that surprised me. I feel like the characters were much more relatable than they could have been, which was really good because I think there's always that disconnect between normal people and famous people, and she kind of made that much closer together, I guess. I would definitely recommend that one. I definitely preferred it over the other one, and I really want to read Billy and Me at Christmas as well, which kind of gives you a little bit of a clue as to what's not going to happen in the book, but oh well. So I read most of my books on Kindle because I can read them on my phone and read them on the tube. So the next one was a Kindle book, and it was something I wanted to read for a really long time. It's been recommended to me so many times. That was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Fangirl wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to throw that out there. I really enjoyed it, but I think people just hyped it up too much for me, that it wasn't as exciting as I expected. Not a lot really happens. It's a coming of age story, so you kind of guess that there's not going to be a huge amount of action in it, but I did find myself a little bit disappointed. Book number 3 is the only physical book that I have, and it was In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. If you watched the video I did on the Penguin book haul, you'll know that I got given this by these guys just before Christmas, and I really wanted to read it even though I knew it was gonna be really harrowing. It was really harrowing, but it was also really inspiring. I learned so much from this book. I had no idea, which makes me sound completely ignorant, that things like this still happen. I mean, this book is set within the last 20 years. We're not talking about 200 years ago. We're talking about less than 2 decades. And I guess what North Korea really needs is more people like Yeonmi to come out and tell their story. Obviously, I can't say it was an enjoyable read, but it's something I'm really glad that I read, and I would really recommend that other people read it too. Her writing is incredible as well. I can only imagine how difficult that was to write. The 4th book was Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, who is one of my favourite authors. I've had this on Kindle for so long and never got round to reading it. That's just the story of my life. It wasn't as good as Gone Girl. I don't think anything's ever going to be as good as Gone Girl, but it still managed to surprise me. I didn't see the ending coming, and there's always something you just don't expect from her books. I don't know how she manages it, but she always keeps you gripped and keeps you going. I did find sometimes the flipping between the past and present to be a bit annoying because I was getting really into the story in one timeline or the other, but then I had to go and find out something else that was happening in the other storyline, if that makes sense. But that's really the only negative thing I have to say about this book, and that was just my personal preference as well. Finally, a book I don't have a cover for, but I will try and insert a picture here if I can find one online. The Painted Ocean by Gabrielle Packard. Now, I was given this via NetGalley, which is a website where you can register to review books in advance of publication in exchange for a completely honest review. So this is my completely honest review. This is the worst book I think I have ever read. And I know that's a really harsh thing to say, but there was nothing in this book that redeemed it for me. I kept reading simply because I'd been sent it to review, and I felt like it wasn't fair to review a book I hadn't finished. It's really badly written, it's uncomfortable to read, it's far-fetched and insane, and in the long run it really has no point to it whatsoever, at least I didn't feel like it did. Interestingly, I've looked at other reviews of this book and they all seem to be either 1 or 5 stars. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground. People either love it or they hate it, and sadly for me, I was in the hate it camp. I genuinely have no idea how this book got published. The use of the I'm like and he's like and she's like really, really grated on me. I didn't feel like the character grew at all. I mean, in fairness to it, the first third of the book isn't that bad. It's still badly written, but it's got a bit of an interesting story to it. But it just, yeah. Once she hits the island, everything goes downhill from there. and it wasn't what I was expecting to happen, so I kind of guess it's got that going for it. You will not guess what's coming next in this book, but I hated it. Sorry. Anyway guys, that's it for me for this month, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!